So picture this. Bags are packed, the plane is fueled and ready to go. And then, at the very last second, President Trump says nope. A high-stakes peace mission to end the 56-day war with Iran was just called off literally minutes ago. Let's break down how this all went down and what it means for, well, all of us.
And this is the actual message that just popped up on Truth Social, sending total shockwaves through the diplomatic world. The representatives, Witkoff and Kushner, were literally about to walk out the door for Pakistan. And Trump's reasoning? Well, he says too much travel, too much work, and, as we're going to see, a huge problem with who's actually calling the shots in Iran right now.
Okay, so let's just be crystal clear about this. The trip is off. The second round of peace talks, which, the whole world was counting on to cool things down, it's just not happening. Iran's foreign minister has already packed up and left the host city of Islamabad.
So you've got to be asking, how did we get here, right? How does a confirmed summit just fall apart in a matter of hours? The timeline of events is incredibly fast, and it tells a really fascinating story of a total diplomatic breakdown.
What's really wild here is just the sheer speed of this collapse. Just yesterday, the White House was giving the green light, confirming the trip. This morning, Iran's foreign minister, Araghchi, was meeting with Pakistani leaders, laying the groundwork. But then, and listen, this is the crucial part, he just leaves for Oman without ever meeting the Americans. Minutes after that, Trump pulls the plug. The whole thing unraveled in less than 24 hours. Just gone.
And this quote right here, it perfectly sums up the new U.S. position. Trump is essentially saying, hey, the travel and the effort here, it's all been one-sided. He's making it very clear that the U.S. holds, in his words, all the cards, and the ball is now completely in Iran's court to make the next move. No more 18-hour flights for his team.
So here's the real kicker. Trump didn't just cancel this because of a long flight. He pointed to what he called infighting and confusion inside Iran's leadership. Ever since the U.S. killed their supreme leader, there's been this massive power vacuum. You've got the hardliners who want to keep fighting, and then you've got the moderates who are desperate for a deal. Without one person in charge, who can you even talk to? Who can actually make a promise that will stick? Now look, this isn't just some story about diplomats and canceled flights. The collapse of these talks has real, immediate consequences for economies all over the globe. And it really all boils down to one single number. $105. That's what it costs for a single barrel of crude oil right now. See, every single time a diplomatic effort like this goes south, the world gets nervous. And that uncertainty, especially around that vital Strait of Hormuz shipping lane, keeps energy prices painfully high for every single one of us. With these talks canceled, there's really no relief in sight.
And you can see that ripple effect spreading out everywhere. For folks in the United States, it means those high prices at the pump are sticking around. For the UK, any hope of reopening that vital shipping channel, the Strait of Hormuz, is basically on ice. Markets in Canada and Australia took a hit on the news. And Germany, with its gas stockpiles already critically low, is watching all of this with deep, deep concern as summer approaches.
Okay, so the talks are off, the markets are freaking out. What happens now? Where does this war go from here? Well, as I see it, there are basically three ways this could play out. All right, path one, Iran picks up the phone. Trump put the ball in their court, so if their leadership can somehow agree, they could reach out to Washington directly. Path two, they try again. Some sources are saying Iran's minister might head back to Pakistan next week, so maybe this thing isn't completely dead. And then there's path three, the one nobody wants to see. The ceasefire collapses. If Iran's internal squabbling leads to inaction, political pressure back in the U.S. could force Trump's hand, and the war could start right back up. But, in the middle of all this tension, there is one small but pretty significant piece of good news. Iranian CTV is reporting that commercial flights have actually started taking off again from Tehran's main airport. It's a subtle signal, right? But it suggests Iran isn't gearing up for an immediate, all-out military escalation. It kind of suggests the door for diplomacy might still be a little bit open.
So that brings us right back to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? We've got a canceled summit, an oil market on edge, and a deeply fractured Iranian leadership. The next 72 hours are going to be absolutely critical. So what do you think happens next? Does that fractured leadership in Tehran find a way to make the call? Or does this 56-day war get a whole lot more complicated?